Good evening. My name is Michael Murr. I'm the Executive Director of Enviro Centre. Enviro Centre is a local nonprofit that helps residents and businesses conserve energy and live more sustainably. In May of this year, concerned residents were very pleased to see the City of Ottawa release its air quality and climate change management plan. The plan sets a new overall target of a 20% reduction in per capita GHG emissions between 2012 and 2024. And it also recognizes that the city needs to work with community partners if the plan is to be successful. So my question, if elected mayor, what will you do to ensure that the plan is a priority in the next term of council? And how will you leverage the interests of the community and those in this room in terms of helping to meet the targets?
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you for the work that you've done, and certainly, Graham, the work that Ecology Ottawa did in helping us facilitate the first ever GHG roundtable that took place this past year. The single biggest contributor that we will have in terms of reducing GHGs will be, of course, our light rail transit system, that by the time phase 2 is up and running, 500,000 tons of greenhouse gases will be eliminated. I'm personally committed, because I was the one that worked with our Environment Committee and Ecology Ottawa to move forward with the GHG roundtable. I believe that we all have a moral and ecological responsibility to do whatever we can to reduce greenhouse gases. We have a very solid track record when it comes to a number of environmental initiatives. We've set targets that we believe are realistic with respect to a 20% reduction from 2012 per capita GHGs, and it will be my responsibility, Michael over there, to ensure that we keep pressure on ourselves, our staff, as well as other community partners to ensure that we meet that target and ideally exceed it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McGuire, please.
Thanks, Michael. I don't support the policy as it stands. I'm concerned about the costs. I'm concerned about the economic consequences involved in trying to solve the world's problems here at home. With respect to climate change, I don't think there's going to be any useful expenditure of money to mitigate climate change. We need to put any funds that occur, need to be put into adaptation. I do like the idea of restoration of commuter rail in Ottawa in particular, and I apologize for not making this clear in the past. When I talk about commuter rail, I'm talking about the O-Train. I want to see the O-Train extended from Orleans to Riverside South, to Barrhaven, and to Canada. That has the potential to take thousands and thousands of motor vehicles off the Queensway and the arterial roads on a daily basis. And the value, the benefit of using an O-Train expansion is that we have surface rail, and we can do this quickly and far less expensively than the proposed phase 2 LRT. Thanks.
Mr. Syed.
Very good question. And other than the fact that we are going by the LRT and trying to take more cars off the street to reduce the carbon emission and the carbon footprint, there are other activities that can be done in parallel to that, because the LRT will take time to come to fruition. So I'm just surprised that we have OC transport, but we have not looked into the fact that we can also get electric trams to run in the transport corridors that right now are being run by diesel buses. That's one option that we should look into it and see how it can be made viable. Other thing is, we should encourage manufacturers of electric cars to come to our city, develop smaller cars which can reduce the carbon footprint much more until the LRT gets in shape. So I think there are parallel alternatives that we should pursue in this goal of reducing the carbon footprint in our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Watson.
I know Mike doesn't have any more green cards, so I'm going to take advantage of that.
I think he does have one more by Mike.
I'm writing on it.
Just a couple of things, Mike. First of all, the O-Train is diesel. Diesel contributes to greenhouse gases. That's lesson number one. Secondly, your track record of canceling light rail is well known. You were part of the brain trust of the Terry Kilray campaign, the Larry O'Brien campaign that canceled north-south, cost us $36 million. That was light rail, electrified light rail. Then in 2010, you campaigned against light rail again. Then in 2014, you campaigned against light rail, except last night you said, quote, "I've always supported light rail." You've had more positions on this issue than a yoga instructor, to be perfectly honest.
Thank you.
Use another card.
Well, Mike,
This
Mr.
is-
McGuire, you have one more by my count.
Thank you.
I have, unless I've done the
No, no,
counting
take your word for it.
incorrectly, I believe
Take your
you've
word
used
for
4. So if you want to respond?
Well, here's the thing, Mr. Mayor, you just spent $6 billion on Phase 1 LRT, and you don't know what an LRT is. The O train is an LRT, and LRT describes the weight of the locomotive and the weight of the cars. It's got nothing to do with electric or diesel or where it goes. The O train expansion I'm proposing uses the same track, same signals, same platforms. Let's expand it from Orleans to Canada, Riverside South, Barrhaven. Not stop this nonsense. Billions of dollars for these vanity projects. We can get people out of their cars, onto the trains, starting next year.
We consider a progressive, thoughtful, affordable light rail transit project as a vanity project. This is a project that you have consistently tried to sabotage behind the scenes as a candidate, and yet yesterday you embraced light rail because you know the vast majority of the citizens of this city want us to move forward, stop dithering, start digging, and get the light rail transit system up and running, Phase 1, and then Phase 2. We don't know what your platform is. We don't know where the stations are, what lines you're going to use, what it's going to cost. Right now, it's all a mirage. You go to your website and it says more to come. You need to tell people where your plan is, where the stations are, how you're going to fund it, and at the end of the day, I think people have a very clear choice between going ahead with light rail with me or great uncertainty and pressing another reset button with you. Thank you.
Mr. Sayed?
Just talking about the trains, I'll just share my experience with everyone. I grew up in India where we used to have steam engines. Steam engines were replaced by diesel engines, and diesel engines have been replaced by electric engines. So it's interchangeable. You can always get a train which can be run on electricity instead of diesel. And I think the sooner we convert to it, the better it is. And if our train is being run by diesel engines, it has to go to electric run engines. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no further comments on this topic. Another lively one, light rail. Everyone has a passionate opinion about it, it seems. So let's move on. Do we have, I don't